when I called my mother sobbing from the oncologist's office. Stage 3 ovarian cancer. Surgery in 2 weeks. 6 months of chemotherapy. I was 32 years old and I was terrified. She said, "Your brother Austin has a runny nose. Let me take care of him first." Austin was 30 years old. He had a cold. I had cancer. I went through surgery alone. 6 months of chemotherapy alone. Every scan, every infusion, every night I couldn't sleep from the nausea. Alone. And then, on the day of my final scan, the day I found out whether the cancer was gone, my oncologist closed the door, placed a file on the desk, and said, "Before I give you your results, there's something from 2001 you were never supposed to see. My name is Rhea Franks. I'm 33 years old, and the cancer wasn't even the worst thing my family did to me. I was a marketing manager in Nashville. East Nashville apartment, yoga on weekends, a guy named Nathan I'd been seeing for 3 years, nothing serious, just easy company. My parents lived in Franklin, 30 minutes south on I-65. But we only spoke on major holidays and the texts from my mother were always the same. Austin got promoted. Austin and Cassidy are looking at houses. Austin says hi, I'd send a thumbs up. That was our relationship. Austin was my younger brother by 2 years, the one who stayed close to home, the one who called every Sunday, the one whose life filled every conversation. I thought families just had dynamics. Some kids are closer to their parents than others. What I didn't know was that the distance wasn't random. It was designed. My last real memory of my grandmother was from 1999. I was 6. She died of ovarian cancer that summer. I remember her hands, how thin they got toward the end. I remember my mother crying in the hospital bathroom, the sound echoing off the tiles. She died in June. 3 months later, my mother got a genetic test. 2 years after that, when I was 8, Austin was 6. Both of us were tested too. I don't remember much about it, just a needle, a blood draw, my mother holding my hand. I signed something in careful child's handwriting, the way you do when adults tell you to. One of those results would stay secret for 24 years. In early 2025, I started feeling off, bloated, unusually full after small meals. Pelvic pain, I told myself, was just stress. Women are conditioned to downplay our pain. I was good at it. Then one night in February, the pain got sharp. Not take an Advil and sleep it off sharp. Sharp enough that I sat on my bathroom floor at 2 a.m., hands pressed to my abdomen, breathing through it until it passed. The ultrasound tech was chatty when I arrived, asking about my weekend plans. When she looked at the screen, she went silent. I need to get the radiologist. That's when I knew. By that afternoon, I was in oncology. Dr. Patricia Okoye sat across from me, hands folded, diplomas on the wall, a box of tissues on the desk that I now understood was placed deliberately. The imaging indicates high-grade serous ovarian carcinoma, stage 3C. I heard the words, I couldn't process past tomorrow. She explained the treatment plan. Surgery in 2 weeks. Then 6 cycles of chemotherapy. She mentioned prognosis gently, 5-year survival rate, 30 to 40%. Then, she asked routine family history questions. Any history of ovarian cancer in your family? I mentioned my grandmother. Did your mother ever have genetic testing? I don't think so. I was wrong. I called my mother from the parking garage. Level P3. Hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. Engine still running, I don't know why I didn't turn it off. I was crying so hard she could barely understand me. Mom, I have cancer. Ovarian cancer, stage 3. Surgery in 2 weeks, then 6 months of chemo. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. Silence. Long enough that I thought the call had dropped. Oh honey, that's terrible. When's the surgery? March 28th. Can you? Well, Austin has this cold. It's really bad, and I'm worried. Let me see how he is, and I'll try to come up when I can. I sat in that car for 23 minutes after hanging up. I counted them later, looking at my call log. Just sitting. Engine running. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. I realized in that garage that I was going into this alone. What I didn't know yet was that phone call was the first piece of a pattern I'd been missing my whole life. Surgery day, April 3rd. Nathan dropped me off before catching a flight to Denver. No family. The pre-op nurse asked for my emergency contact. I gave my mother's number. She never answered. There was a woman in the waiting area, Mrs. Chen. Elderly, Korean, being treated for breast cancer. We'd met a few days earlier, just small talk. She saw me sitting alone that morning and walked over. "Is anyone with you?" I shook my head. "Then I'll stay." A stranger. That's who held my hand when they wheeled me into the operating room. Mrs. Chen pressed her rosary beads into my palm. "For luck, dear." The surgery took 6 hours. When I woke up, they had taken everything, my ovaries, my uterus, every future I'd imagined that involved children. I looked around for family. Mrs. Chen was sleeping in the visitor chair. One text from Austin. "Sorry to hear you're not feeling well. Get better soon." Not feeling well. As if I had a headache. 6 months of chemotherapy followed. Every 2 weeks, then weekly, a rhythm of poison pumped into my veins to kill the cancer trying to kill me. My coworker Bridget drove me to 14 of those 18 sessions, sat with me during infusions, brought ginger ale and crackers when the nausea got bad. She had a full-time job and 2 kids at home, and she still showed up more than my own mother. Mrs. Chen knitted me a hat for when my hair fell out. Soft blue yarn. I wore it to every session. My parents, 3 phone calls over 6 months. Each under 5 minutes. The first came while I was in the infusion chair. My hair had just started falling out in clumps that morning. I'd cried in the shower watching it circle the drain. "Hi, honey. Just checking in. How are you?" I was hooked up to an IV. My hands had neuropathy so bad I could barely feel my fingers. I'd vomited twice that morning. "Not great, Mom." "Well, hang in there. Austin's got a big work presentation. We're helping him prep. I'll try to visit soon." Soon never came. The second call was my birthday, June 15th. "Happy birthday, sweetheart, thanks. Are you doing anything special?" Bridget had brought me soup. That was my birthday. Not really. "Well, we love you." Austin says hi. That same day, I saw the notification on Facebook. Austin's engagement announcement. Him and Cassidy beaming, her ring held toward the camera. My parents commented within minutes. "Congratulations. We're so proud." They didn't call me back. In late October, between my 16th and 17th sessions, my parents threw Austin's engagement party at the house I grew up in. I wasn't invited. I saw the photos on Facebook, 32 of them. My mother beaming in the blue floral dress she'd worn to my college graduation. A banner, "Congratulations, Austin and Cassidy." A caption, "Our perfect family growing." A family friend commented, "How's Rhea doing?" My mother responded, "She's managing." That was it. No mention of cancer. No mention that I was 3 weeks away from my 17th chemo session. No mention that their daughter was fighting for her life 30 minutes north. I screenshotted every photo. I don't know why. Some part of me was already building a case I couldn't name yet. November 18th, my final chemo session. Bridget brought sparkling cider. Mrs. Chen brought cupcakes with Warrior written in pink icing. The nurses who'd seen me every week for 6 months clapped when I walked in. Nurse Jenna hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. "There's a bell in the chemo ward. You ring it when you finish treatment." I rang it. That night, I called my father to tell him. 2 minutes and 11 seconds. "That's great, honey," he said, sounding distracted. Your mother's at Austin's picking out china patterns. I'll tell her you called. I sat in my apartment with the blue hat Mrs. Chen had made me, cupcake crumbs on the coffee table, and understood something I'd been avoiding for months. My parents weren't coming. They'd never been coming. Final scan, December 15th. I lay still in the machine for 90 minutes while it mapped my body. Then I sat in Dr. Okoye's office, the same office as my first visit, same anatomy posters, same diplomas, same tissue box. This room had become part of my life. Dr. Okoye came in. Her expression was unusual, not the cancer results face I'd learned to read. Something else. Your scan looks good, she said. No evidence of disease. I started to cry. The strange, hollow emptiness of good news after 9 months of expecting the worst. She let me cry for a moment. Then she said quietly, "But before you leave, there's something else we need to discuss." She had a manila folder I hadn't seen before. When we requested your family medical records, standard protocol for ovarian cancer patients, the genetic testing lab sent us something. Something I don't think your parents wanted you to see. She slid the folder across the desk. The lab that tested your mother in 1999, MedGen Diagnostics in Memphis. They also tested you and your brother in 2001. She opened the folder. Austin tested negative. You tested positive. I stared at her. I've never been tested. She turned the folder so I could see. Official lab letterhead. My name. Patient age, 8 years. Test date, April 15th, 2001. Result, BRCA2 gene mutation, positive. Below that, risk percentages in bold. 69% lifetime breast cancer risk. 39% lifetime ovarian cancer risk. At the bottom, 2 signatures. My child's handwriting on the consent form. And my parents' signatures. Guardian consent. You were tested, Dr. Okoye said gently. You just weren't told. I couldn't breathe. Your parents received both results. Both were sent to the same address in Franklin. Then I remembered something. Austin's negative test result had been framed on my parents' wall since I was a teenager, above the TV in the family room. Gold frame, matted, displayed between their wedding photo and Austin's high school graduation picture. My mother used to tell dinner guests, Austin dodged the bullet. I never knew I'd been shot. There's more, Dr. Okoye said carefully. 4 letters, all from the genetic counselor who managed your mother's case. She kept trying to reach your family for 19 years. She laid them out, one by one. Letter 1. April 22nd, 2001. 1 week after my test results. Rhea tested positive for the same BRCA2 mutation that caused your mother's ovarian cancer. By her early 30s, we will need to discuss risk-reducing surgery, removal of ovaries and fallopian tubes to prevent ovarian cancer. Early intervention can reduce her ovarian cancer risk by approximately 85%. By age 14 to 16, Rhea should be informed of her status so she can participate in her own healthcare decisions. Please schedule a follow-up within 2 weeks. No record they ever called. Letter 2, October 2007. I was 14. At age 14, Rhea should now be informed of her genetic status. Adolescence is the recommended time for disclosure. The envelope, certified mail, signature required. The signature on the receipt, Jennifer Franks. October 18, 2007. My mother signed for it, read it, threw it away. I was 14, starting high school, worried about boys and grades and whether I'd make the soccer team. And somewhere in my house, there was a letter saying I had a cancer gene. Letter 3, March 2015. I was 22. Rhea is now past the age where enhanced breast screening should have begun. Every year of delayed surveillance increases her risk. The envelope. Return to sender. Moved. No forwarding address. My parents lived at 412 Maple Ridge Drive from 1995 to 2023. They never moved. They lied to the post office. Letter 4, June 2019. I was 26. This is my final attempt. Rhea is now 26, the optimal age for discussing risk-reducing surgery per BRCA2 management guidelines. Failure to inform a patient of known positive genetic test results may constitute medical negligence. Rhea has the right to her own medical information. Bolded text, may constitute medical negligence. Someone tried to warn me for 19 years. Someone tried. My parents blocked them at every turn. There's one more document, Dr. Okie said. She pulled out 2 handwritten pages, blue-lined notebook paper. My mother's cursive. I recognized it instantly, the same handwriting from birthday cards, grocery lists on the fridge. Dated April 25, 2001. 10 days after my test results, my mother had written to Dr. Walsh, explaining why they were refusing to tell me. I read it. Austin dodged it, but she didn't. If we tell her, she'll grow up afraid. She'll be the sick one. Austin will be the healthy one. Austin is our son. He'll carry the Frank's name forward. Rhea will marry someday, take her husband's name, join his family. Her medical care will become their responsibility. Austin gets to be normal. Why can't she? We're giving her the gift of not knowing. I stared at the last line. The gift of not knowing. The gift I got was stage 3 cancer at 32. Austin's gift was a framed certificate and parents who cared if he lived or died. I didn't speak for 11 minutes. Dr. Okoye told me that later. 11 minutes of silence while my entire childhood rearranged itself in my mind. Every dismissal. Every don't worry. Every time I'd asked my mother whether I should get genetic testing. At 18, at 22, at 28, and she'd said, lightning doesn't strike twice. Wait until you're thinking about kids, you're too young to worry. She already had my results in a file at home for 14 years when I was 18, for 20 years when I was 22, for 23 years when I was 28. Every time I asked, she lied. Dr. Okoye pulled out a final chart. 2 columns. Left column standard break at 2 protocol. Right column my actual care. Left column age 14 informed of status. Age 25 annual breast MRI begins. Age 30-32 recommended preventive surgery window. Ovarian cancer prevention rate 85%. Right column blank blank blank. Until one line age 32. Stage 3C ovarian cancer diagnosis. 24 years of blank space. Then, cancer. If you'd had the surgery at 30 or 31, Dr. Okoye said carefully, there's an 85% chance you wouldn't have cancer today. 3 days later, I sat in a law office on the 12th floor in downtown Nashville. Jonathan Ward, medical malpractice attorney. I laid 47 pages of documents on his conference table. He read for 20 minutes without speaking. Then, he looked up. Your parents committed medical fraud against their own child. They had information that could have saved your life and they buried it. Can I sue them? Yes. Medical negligence, child endangerment, fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress. He pulled out a legal pad. What do you want? I want them to admit what they did. On record. Public trial. But first, I needed to tell Austin. We met at Barista Parlor in East Nashville, December 22nd, 2025. He arrived easy smile, latte in hand, completely unaware that I was about to dismantle his understanding of our entire family. I slid the folder across the table. We were both tested for BRCA2 when we were kids. You know your result. I just found out mine. He opened it. Saw his negative test result first, the same one framed on our parents' wall. Then he saw mine. BRCA2 positive. His face drained. He dropped his coffee cup. It spilled across the table, dripping onto the floor. You were tested? When? How did I not know? Same day as you. April 15th, 2001. They got both results the same day. I let that land. They framed yours. They hid mine. He stared at the document like it was in a language he couldn't read. I slid the 4 counselor letters across. He read all of them. I watched his face change with each one. 2001, 2007, 2015, 2019. Wait, he said, looking up from the 2007 letter. When I was 13, Mom and Dad started taking me to a doctor every year. They said it was because of Grandma's cancer. Annual checkups. He paused. They never took you. Never. The memory landed on him visibly. They were monitoring me because of BRCA2, but I tested negative. They were careful with you, I said. They were very careful with you. His hands were shaking. I showed him the photo. Austin's framed test result on the wall. Gold frame. Matted. Displayed like a trophy. I remember when they bought that frame, he said quietly. I was about 10. Mom showed everyone who came over. Then he went still. Every time someone asked about family health history, they'd point to my test and say, "We're fine." He looked up. "They used me to lie about you." I slid the diary entry across, his mother's handwriting. He read it. I watched him get to the line. Austin dodged it, but she didn't. He read further. "Austin gets to be normal. Why can't she?" When he finished, he was crying. "She chose me," he said. "She chose my normal life over your survival. You didn't know. If I'd known, I would have told you. Rhea, I swear. I know. That's why I'm telling you now." He wiped his eyes. "When are you confronting them?" "Soon. I'm coming with you." His voice was firm, no hesitation. "They need to face both of us." January 3rd, 2026. We drove to Franklin together, 30 minutes down I-65. Neither of us spoke. 412 Maple Ridge Drive. White siding, black shutters, the magnolia tree out front, the house I grew up in, except it had never really been home for me. I just hadn't known why. My father answered the door, surprised. My mother came from the kitchen. "Oh, you're both here. What a nice surprise." We walked into the living room. The couch where I'd watched Saturday morning cartoons, the coffee table where I'd done homework. And there, above the TV, Austin's framed test result. Gold frame. Still there, we sat. I placed my evidence folder on the coffee table. "Let's talk about 2001. My mother went pale. She knew exactly what I'd found. I laid both test results on the table, side by side. Austin's negative, mine positive. Same date, April 15th, 2001. My father picked mine up. "Read it. Read it again." "You were tested." He looked at my mother. "Jennifer, we both signed the consent. You were there. We were going to tell her." My mother started. "When?" I said. "I'm 33. I already have cancer." Austin cut in. "You told me when I turned 18. You explained everything, set up annual appointments, monitored me for 12 years. You never once suggested Rhea should be tested. I asked you point blank if she should worry about Grandma's cancer. You said no." I placed the 4 counselor letters on the table. One by one. 4 letters. 19 years. All ignored. My father read them. With each one, his face changed. By the 4th, the one about medical negligence, he looked sick. "Jennifer," he said slowly, "did doctors contact us? Did you return these letters?" I was trying to protect her. "You told them we moved." He held up the one marked return to sender. "You lied to the post office. I didn't want Rhea to grow up scared." I placed my mother's diary entry on the table. "Would you like to explain this, or should I read it aloud?" She saw her own handwriting and physically recoiled. I read the key lines without looking up. Austin dodged it, but she didn't. "Austin gets to be normal. Why can't she? We're giving her the gift of not knowing." With each line, my father's face collapsed. He hadn't known about the diary. She'd kept it even from him. "Jennifer, what is this?" I pulled out the final document. The timeline comparison. Standard BRCA2 protocol on the left. My medical history on the right. The 85% prevention rate highlighted. "If I'd had the surgery at 30, I said, there's an 85% chance I wouldn't have cancer today." My father asked the question that destroyed my mother's defense. "Jennifer, if Rhea had known at 25, like the doctors said, would she have this cancer right now?" My mother couldn't answer. I said it for her. "When I called you from the oncologist's office, I was sobbing. I'd just been told I had stage 3 cancer. You said Austin has a runny nose. I let that sit. He was 30 years old. You didn't visit me once in 6 months. And now I know why you couldn't look at me. Because you knew this was your fault. I'm sorry, my mother said, crying. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't give me back my ovaries. Sorry doesn't cure cancer. Austin stood up. I'm testifying against you, he said. In court. On the record. I'm helping Rhea prove what you did. My mother looked at him in horror. Austin, we're your parents. We love you. We made a mistake. A mistake? I looked at Austin's framed test on the wall. Then back at her. Austin's negative result is framed on your wall. Mine was buried. You celebrated his health. You hid my risk. You gave him medical care. You gave me cancer. I stood up. Austin stood with me. I placed one final document on the coffee table. Legal notice, lawsuit filed. Case number 26CV-01129. Davidson County Circuit Court, Rhea Franks versus Paul and Jennifer Franks. You'll hear from my attorney. My mother called after us as we walked out. Please, we can fix this as a family. Austin turned back briefly. You stopped being her family when she was 8 years old. We got in my car. In the rearview mirror, I could see them standing in the doorway. I didn't look back. Jonathan Ward filed the lawsuit in January. Rhea Franks versus Paul and Jennifer Franks. Charges: medical negligence, child endangerment, fraud, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Damages: $2.8 million. My parents' attorney offered $1.5 million to settle. Ender required. My silence, permanently. Jonathan brought the offer to me. It's substantial. You could take it. No. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this so every parent who thinks about hiding their child's genetic results sees what happens. Public trial or no deal. Dr. Rebecca Walsh, the genetic counselor who had written those 4 letters, agreed to testify. Jonathan tracked her down in Memphis. She was 68, retired. When he told her why he was calling, she said immediately, I kept those letters for 24 years because I knew this would happen. I knew someday that girl would get cancer and she'd need proof that someone tried. I was sitting across from Jonathan's desk when I heard her voice through the speaker. Something broke open in my chest. I couldn't save you then, she said. She was crying. But maybe these letters can save someone else now. She also told me something else. Your mother called me in 2024. She asked if the old test results were still on file at the lab. I froze. What did you tell her? I said yes, genetic testing labs keep records indefinitely. She hung up without another word. My mother knew. Right before I was diagnosed, she knew the truth might surface. And she still said nothing. Austin gave his deposition in February. Under oath. He described everything: 30 surveillance appointments over 12 years, the genetic counseling our parents arranged before his engagement, every family health conversation where they never mentioned me. They used my negative result to lie about family history. They told relatives the kids tested negative. That was not true. Only I tested negative. After his deposition, Cassidy called off their engagement. She wanted him to stay neutral, keep the peace. He texted me. She said I'm destroying the family. I told her, they destroyed you first. My heart broke for him. He didn't regret it. In March, Dr. Walsh gave her deposition. 4 hours. 156 pages of documentation. In 25 years of genetic counseling, I've never seen this level of deliberate concealment. This wasn't negligence. This was intentional. Defense counsel asked, couldn't the parents have been acting in their daughter's best interest? Dr. Walsh's answer, a parent's best interest is keeping their child alive. They failed. It's March 2026 now. My latest scan, clear. No evidence of disease. It's not cured. It's no cancer visible right now. I'll be monitored every 3 months for 2 years, every 6 months after that, for the rest of my life. 5-year survival isn't guaranteed. But I'm alive, And I'm fighting in ways I never planned. I joined the Force Leadership Board, the National Patient Advocacy Organization for Hereditary Cancer. I started speaking at genetic counseling conferences. I'm working with Tennessee legislators on proposed Bill HB 1829, the Genetic Information Rights for Minors Act. It requires parents to disclose genetic test results to their children by age 18. Concealment constitutes medical negligence. I spoke at my first conference in late February, 200 genetic counselors in the audience. When I finished, they stood up. They clapped for 4 minutes. Afterward, a counselor came up to me crying. I have 3 families right now who aren't telling their kids about positive results. I'm going to show them your story. I started a blog. The file they hid. The first post got 15,000 shares in 48 hours. One comment broke me open. My mother knew I had Lynch syndrome for 15 years. She told me last month. I'm 38 and just got diagnosed with colon cancer. I am not alone. None of us are. Austin moved to Chattanooga, 2 hours from Nashville. Far enough from our parents to breathe, close enough to show up for me. We talk every day now. He's in therapy. He told me, I spent 31 years being the golden child. I want to spend the rest of my life being your brother. Mrs. Chen is cancer-free. We have tea once a month. She's become the maternal figure I chose. Bridget and I are close friends, the coworker who showed up when family didn't. I met someone, Nate, from my Bursa support group. He's BRCA1 positive. He chose prophylactic surgeries at 29. He understands what it means to live with this gene. Our first date, I told him about the lawsuit. He said, I hope you destroy them. I think I'm falling in love with him. My parents, 0 contact. We will never reconcile. I've made peace with that. I changed my emergency contacts, my will, my medical proxy. Austin is listed everywhere. My parents are explicitly excluded. The trial is scheduled for October 2026. I'll face them again. Sit across a courtroom from the people who knew, since I was 8 years old, that I carried the gene that would give me cancer and chose to let me find out in an oncologist's office at 32. But I'm not their daughter begging for love anymore. I'm the woman who survived what they did. And I'm taking the stand. I'm sitting in a coffee shop as I write this. The same one where I told Austin the truth. There's a photo on my phone, 2 test results, side by side. Austin's negative, mine positive. Both dated April 15th, 2001. The caption I'm writing, one was celebrated, one was buried. Both were our truth. Only one of us got to know it. That ends now. For every child whose medical truth is being hidden right now. I am fighting for your right to know. Your body. Your genes. Your truth. No parent gets to take that from you. Before you go, I need to ask you something. Did you ever find out that someone was keeping something from you? Something that could have changed everything if you'd known sooner? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story needs to reach someone, please share it. Someone watching right now might be sitting on test results their family buried. They deserve to know. Subscribe for news stories every week. I'll see you in the next one.